Lauren Laria du Louvierte and her maid, Rita Farron, are ambushed and captured by bandits. One of the bandits tries to take advantage of Lauren, but before he can harm her, a large armored knight named Ark arrives and swiftly dispatches the bandits with a single swipe of his sword. Meanwhile, Ark finds himself in a strange place in front of a tree, feeling bewildered and disoriented. He realizes that he has somehow been transported into the body of his game character. After taking a moment to calm himself down, he assesses his equipment and abilities and decides to try out his Wyvern Slash move. To his surprise, the Wyvern Slash move proves to be incredibly powerful, leaving Ark amazed at the extent of his newfound abilities. Curious about his new abilities, Ark decides to test his magical powers by casting a simple fire spell. To his amazement, the spell incinerates a nearby tree. Ark is surprised by his newfound magical abilities since his class is not known for magic. As he contemplates his situation, Ark realizes that he can use all the skills from the upgrade path of his main skill, Holy Knight. This discovery leads him to believe that he's become incredibly powerful. As he travels through unfamiliar territory, Ark begins to feel the pangs of hunger. With no food or money, he decides to use his gate spell to teleport to a nearby town. However, due to his lack of experience with the spell, he teleports himself off a nearby cliff. Undeterred, Ark reflects on his mistake and decides to try another spell called Dimension Move. This time, he successfully transports himself to a river stream, where he takes off his helmet to drink. To his horror, he realizes that his head is that of a skeleton. Ark remembers that he had chosen the skeleton avatar back in his old world, and if he were to enter a town without his helmet, he would be treated as a monster. Determined to avoid drawing attention to himself, Ark decides to teleport to a nearby town called Louvierte. Upon arriving, he takes in the sights and sounds of the bustling town before stumbling upon a heated argument between a woman and an investigator. As it turns out, the woman is an elf, which amazes Ark. However, before he can learn more, she disappears from sight. Undeterred, Ark continues to explore the town and eventually comes across the mercenary guild. Eager to become a licensed mercenary, Ark approaches the receptionist, who initially dismisses him, claiming that he appears to be well employed already due to his armor. Ark offered an excuse to the receptionist, who believed it, but informed him that in order to obtain what he was seeking, he would have to pass a trial first. The trial involved Ark bringing back evidence of subduing one of three things: a beast, a monster, or a bandit. Without delay, Ark departed the guild, while the receptionist and a fellow member of the guild discussed Ark's possible backstory and the reasons that led him to join the guild. After defeating a couple of boars, an orc appears from the bushes, and Ark enthusiastically slays it. As he continues on his journey, carrying proof of his subjugation, he spots a group of bandits surrounding a carriage, having already killed the guards and cornered a noble lady and her maid. Ark realizes that this situation is vastly different from fighting beasts or monsters. The bandits begin to take advantage of the defenseless ladies, prompting Ark to take swift action. He fights the bandits, unleashing his Wyvern Slash move to defeat the remaining attackers. Once the danger has passed, Ark checks on the two women and learns their names. Rita asks Ark if he belongs to a noble family, and Ark, with a sense of urgency, quickly devises a makeshift tale about being a cursed knight in search of a remedy for his affliction. However, he keeps this information to himself for the time being, not yet ready to share it with Rita and Lauren, so he ignores the question. As the two women venture into the forest to tend to their needs, Ark uses his fire spell to cremate the bodies of the bandits. Despite having killed them all, he feels no remorse. Taking advantage of the situation, he searches through the bandits' possessions and collects anything of value. Utilizing their horses, he loads up the loot before the ladies return. As they make their way back to town, Ark rides alongside Rita's carriage, with Lauren sitting inside. Rita expresses her gratitude towards Ark for his heroic actions, while Lauren's intense gaze makes him feel uneasy. Rita takes the opportunity to ask for Ark's name, to which he humbly introduces himself as just a traveler named Ark. Upon arriving back at the guild, Ark presents the subjugated prey he had captured and slain to the receptionist. In return, he is given a valuable rune stone as a reward. The receptionist advises him to remove such stones from any monster he kills. After the receptionist gives him a quick rundown on the possible uses of the rune stone, Ark receives his adventurer's license. Eager to relax after a long day, he quickly heads to the nearest inn and orders some food to be delivered to his room. With great enthusiasm, Ark indulges in the delicious fare and drinks served to him, feeling refreshed and recharged for the adventures that await him the next day. Shona, a devoted single mother, wakes up at dawn every day to work tirelessly for her 2 children, Marka and Helena. Concerned for their mother's well-being, Marka writes a job request seeking help. Ark answers the request and agrees to accompany someone in gathering herbs. After arriving at the job destination, Rada village, Ark receives directions from the gatekeeper to Shona's home. As he knocks on the door, Marka answers, while she and Helena are enjoying breakfast. As soon as Marka meets Ark, she's taken aback by his imposing figure. He reveals that he accepted their job posting from the mercenary guild, leaving her momentarily speechless. A flashback then reveals how Ark interacted with the guild receptionist, who advised him to be gentle with the client. Returning to the present, Ark is offered tea while Marka asks if they can start right away. Ark agrees, and Marka readies herself for the task ahead. During their journey to the village, Ark informs Marka that they will need to protect it from fanged boars, which have been causing trouble in the area. Ark inquires as to why Marka is in such a hurry to complete their mission, to which she confides that her mother will be returning home soon and would disapprove of their work. She urges Ark to keep this information from her mother and shares that her father had passed away the previous year, leaving her mother to raise the family alone. Despite the added responsibilities, her mother had taken up the job of collecting herbs, and Marka is determined to help her in any way she can. Ark is touched by Marka's heartfelt confession and impressed by her determination to support her family. He resolves to assist her in collecting the herbs, acknowledging the importance of the task and the impact it will have on Marka's mother. As Marka and Ark venture into the fields in search of the Kakora herb, Marka shares her extensive knowledge of the plant with Ark, impressing him with her expertise. They eventually decide to head towards the nearby Kobumi tree, but their progress is interrupted by some rustling in the bushes. Upon investigation, they discover a wounded green, multi-tailed monster. As Ark reaches out to help, the creature bites his finger. However, instead of retaliating, Ark uses his healing magic to mend the monster's wound. Overjoyed, the creature frolics around Ark, following him closely. Marka suggests that Ark give the creature a name, and after some brainstorming, Ark settles on the name, Ponta. In the village, a hunter is visibly disturbed by a strange sight he encountered in the forest, unlike the typical fanged boar that roams around there. Meanwhile, Shona reaches the village and learns from the gatekeeper that Marka had left for the forest in the company of a knight. Meanwhile, Ark and Marka discover the Kobumi tree. Marka becomes excited the next tree is in full bloom, but her joy is short-lived as a giant basilisk suddenly emerges from behind the tree. Ponta seems agitated around the creature, leading Ark to suspect that it was the same monster that had caused its injury. As the basilisk lunges towards Marka, Ark acts quickly and pulls her away from its path. He manages to dodge its poisonous breath and analyze its attack patterns while fending off its paralyzing claws and whip-like tongue. Ark then utilizes his holy shield of Tutates to shield himself from the monster's petrification attack. He follows it up with his powerful judgment attack that slices the basilisk in half, ultimately defeating it. As Marka expresses her happiness over the monster's demise and the villagers' inevitable celebration, Ark requests that they keep the details of their encounter a secret. Marka understands and agrees to keep their victory under wraps. Upon closer inspection, Ark notices a ring around the basilisk's right ankle that disappears moments after he spots it. He deduces that the fanged boars, which have been appearing near the village, were being drawn there by the basilisk. As if on cue, a fanged boar appears before them, and Ark takes it down swiftly. He presents the boar's carcass as a gift to the village, but he claims its fangs and rune stone as payment for their services. Additionally, he suggests that the hide be tanned and gifted to Marka, while the meat should be divided among the villagers. After the encounter with the basilisk, Marka reunites with her mother Shona, who embraces her daughter with open arms. Ark takes this opportunity to formally apologize to Shona for recklessly allowing Marka to venture into the forest. As they are conversing, the village gatekeeper and hunter approach Ark and inquire if he had encountered the monster that had been wreaking havoc in the forest. However, both Marka and Ark deny any knowledge of the creature's existence. As night falls, Ark and Ponta prepare to depart from the village. Before leaving, Helena presents Ark with a circlet of flowers as a symbol of their appreciation and admiration for his valor. Later that night, in the heart of the forest, a large group of soldiers successfully slay a giant basilisk of their own. The leader of the group receives a status report from his subordinate, detailing the number of deceased and injured soldiers, as well as the account of a single person who managed to slay the basilisk alone. The leader is amazed by this incredible feat and wonders if the person who achieved it must either be a god or devil. Meanwhile, Ark enjoys a peaceful evening in his room with Ponta, considering taking on a more challenging quest the next day. And with that, we conclude this episode.